Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to see the concept hashing in data structures. So first we will see the topic what is meant by hashing, what is meant by hashing mechanism, what are the types of collisions, what will happen in hashing and how we can recover from hashing. And we'll discuss a few gate questions in the concept of hashing. Okay. So hashing is a very well-known technique to search any particular element among several elements. So we have seen two types of searching algorithm, linear search and binary search. Similarly, to make linear search or to make binary search, we need a concept called as hashing, which is going to search a particular element, make our process very, very easy. So it is not only used in data structures, it is also used in database management systems. It is also used in cryptography and network security. So the basic of hashing forms in data structures, how we are going to search a particular element from a group of elements. The main advantage of hashing is it minimizes the number of comparisons while we are performing the searching techniques. So the advantage of hashing techniques is, like any other searching technique, hashing is extremely efficient. The time taken by it to perform the search does not depend upon the total number of elements. It may be 50 elements, it may be 100 elements, it may be 1000 elements. That's not a problem. It makes the time very, very minimal compared to all other searching techniques. So the complexity to search any constant type of hashing will be O of big O of 1. So hashing mechanism. So hashing mechanism is how hashing is going to be operated. So in hashing, what you are going to do is only two steps. First step, an array data structure called as an hash table is performed and all the data are stored in the table. Okay. Second one, based on any hash key value, the data items are inserted into the hash table. Okay. Suppose for a simple example, I'll say, suppose I want an, I'll open a Jamboard. So suppose I'm having a number 71. Another number is 73. So in hash, the 70 series is common. So 71, after that followed by 73. If suppose after some 10 elements, I'm having 72. After 10 elements, I'm having 72 means 72 will be inserted between 71 and 73 in a series order. So that if I want to search any element, it is very simple. I will search the order. Based on the order, I will search it from the hash table. So it makes the process very, very simple. Next one, hash key value. Hash key value is a special value that serves as an index for a data item. As I said, suppose if you are having if you are going to any kind of malls, or if you are going, they will be labeled as this is cosmetics, this is daily items, this is doll items. So based on that specific key value, if we need any item, biscuits, chocolate section, so if I need any special item or if I need any item based on that label, it is easy for me to search. It is easy for me to make the search. So hash key value is also the same one. It has an index, and based on the index, it is going to search for an data item. It indicates where the data item should be stored in the hash table. As I said, one example, if I'm having 71, 73, everything will be stored in the 7 series. So if I want to retrieve the same data, it can be easy to retrieve. So for an example, I said 71, 73 is just an example. Okay. So next one, hash key value is generated using the hash function. So I'll just show you. So this is the hash function. So how it is going to generate the key value is based, this is the key. This key is going to be generated using some particular hash function. Each value or each program is having a particular hash function, and based on this hash value, I will generate the key. Suppose if I am putting the order as 5 means the sorting row will be in the 5 orders. Suppose if I am putting 7, the sorting row will be in 7 orders. Based on my value or based on my function, suppose if I'm having only 5 elements means I does not need this hash at all, because only 5 elements, the searching process is very easy. But I am having 100 elements means that time I will use the hash concept. I will split the values in the table. Based on this hash value, I will generate a particular key for a particular function. Next one, hash function. So hash function is a function that maps any big number or string to a smaller integer value. Suppose if I am having a number 4800, just a minute. I'm having a number 48,231. So this is my number. This number is big number. So I'm having some particular value. What I'm going to do is, for an example, I'm going to generate a hash function which is used to store if the last value, if the one digit value is 1, it will store in a particular column. If the one digit value is 2, it will store in a particular column. If the one digit value is 3, it will store in a particular column. So based on my view, I will make the hash function. I will generate a table based on my own hash function. So for each process, for each data, the hash functions varies according to the needs of the user. Okay. So hash function is a function that maps any big number or string to a smaller integer value. So hash function takes the data item as an input and returns smaller integer value as the output. Suppose for this corresponding number 48,231, it will come under series of 1. Just I will return series 1. Okay. So this big number returns only one small number. So that is the specialty of hash function. The smaller integer value is called as the hash value, this one. The smaller integer value is called as the hash value, this one. You can see this one. This is the hash value generated after the hash function. Next one, hash value of the data item is then used as an index for sorting it into the hash table. So now my big number gives the hash value 1. So automatically it will be stored in the series 1 table. So this is the, so key will be 1. My hash function I have generated, all the numbers will be placed on the ones digit. So I'll be divided into table only 9 columns. 0 ones will be stored in 1. Ones will be stored in 1. 2 ones will be like that. I'll be splitting the table, and based on my table, my value will be stored, and the total value will be the hash value. Suppose if the value ends with 1 means it will be stored here. Suppose it ends with 2 means it will be stored here. If it ends with 3 means it will be stored here. Like that, the different values will be generated. Next one, types of hash functions. There are actually various types of hash functions, such as mid-square hash function, division hash function, folding hash function, etc. So this hash function specifically on what purpose we are going to use our data. So I'm having huge amount of data. So in what purpose? Suppose if I want to generate numbers, I'll use one technique. Suppose if I want to generate strings, I will use separate technique. Like for example, all these hash technique, if you want to say some real example of hash techniques, I'll simply say when our bank accounts comes under the category of this hash functions. Our PAN card details comes under the category of this kind of hash functions, and our Aadhaar card details comes under the category of hash functions. Okay, so if I want to generate an Aadhaar card for India, there are more than crores of people. For everyone, they are having a separate Aadhaar number. Based on that Aadhaar number, they are having an address, and they are having their fingerprint recognition. They are having their iris recognition. So if I select a particular number, that number will come under the category of hash value. So to generate that hash value, we are performing different kinds of hash functions. Mid square function is, it will take the mid value and make the hash function. Division hash function is, it will separate and make a separate hashing. So there are different kinds of hash functions that are used for mapping the data into the hash table. Next one, the most important concept, like when I'm having a multiple amount of data, when I'm having a huge amount of data and my storage is very, very less, my storage capacity is very less. Okay, suppose I'm having a data up to some 1 GB, I'm having a data of 1 GB records. I'm having the data up of 1 GB records, but I'm having storage only of assume that I'm having only 200 MB or 2 or 300 MB. So that time what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this hash function to make a data table, and as I said in hashing, it will take a very big value. Here I have mentioned, it will take a very big value and it will return only smaller integer. That is, it is going to compare only very smaller integers and it will paste this in a hash table. So while placing in a hash table, we are having one error or one issue, that is already some values placed in the hash table. Again, my value is going there means there will be a confusion. Like just I'll show an example. I'm having one more number 3, 9, 1, 4, 7, 1. So again, this number ends with the series of 1. So it must be it must be stored in the 1 series. Suppose if we want to get this value, instead it will get this value. So to avoid this kind of errors, we are going to make some ideas. So when two things map at the same place, we call the concept as collision. Okay, when the hash key value of key maps to an already occupied bucket of hash table, then it is called as a collision. Okay, already the place is occupied by some value. Again, I'm having some other value that is also to be mapped in the same table, means we call that error as a collision. So this can be easily avoided. So how we are going to avoid? I'm going to discuss now. Okay, in hashing, hash functions are used to compute hash value for a key. Hash value is then used as an index to store the key in the hash table. Hash functions may return the same hash value or two or more keys. Okay, so this is what collision is. This collision can be easily rectified or easily resoluted. So to make this resolution, we are having two types of technique. First one is separate chaining. We call that separate chaining as open hashing, and the next one is open addressing, that is called as closed hashing. Okay, so this collision resolution means, to avoid collision there are two kind of techniques. First one is separate chaining, second one is open addressing. In this open addressing is again divided into three categories. First one is linear probing, second one is quadratic probing, and third one is double hashing. Okay, so it is divided into two: separate chaining and open addressing. Open addressing is again divided into three categories: linear probing, quadratic probing, and double hashing. Okay, so we will see the first technique, separate chaining. To handle this collision, simple. The technique is very simple. This technique creates a linked list to slot for which collision occurs. Suppose for one itself, it will allot three or more sections. After three or more sections filled, it will allot next more sections. Okay, this is the simple concept of this separate chaining. This technique creates a linked list to the slot for which the collision occurs. Next one, the new item will be inserted in the linked list. The linked list to the slot appears like chains. That is why this is called a separate chaining. Okay, to the next value, to the next value, to the next value. It will be like linked list. So it is like forming like a chain. So this technique is called as a separate chaining. We have the concept called as load factor. Load factor is nothing but how we are going to allot the values to the hash table. It is a formula or calculation. So load factor, we define the load factor in the technical word alpha. So load factor alpha is equal to number of elements present in the hash table divided by total size of the hash table. So how much extra items I can add to my hash table. That is what, for that we are making this calculation, load factor. This formula is very important. Load factor alpha is equal to number of elements present in the hash table divided by total size of the hash table. We'll see a smaller example for this this separate chaining. Okay, suppose in any kind of examinations, or if they are asking in question that using hash function you can give an collision resolution technique, means either you can go with separate chaining or you can go with our open addressing technique. But if they specifically ask the separate chaining, means you should go only with separate chaining. Okay, so my problem is this one. Using the hash function key mode 7, insert the following sequence of key in the hash table: 50, 700, 76, 85, 92, 73, and 101. And they have specifically specified that use separate chaining technique for collision resolution. So now I'm having a hash table. The hash table value is 7. So based on this, I have to insert my values in the hash table, and I should use only separate chaining technique. So first, simple thing, any type of hashing technique, first step, you are going to draw an empty hash table. Okay, so our value is 7, our key mode 7. So if it is 7, means we can have only values up to 6. So you well know that mode 7 means all the values that will be giving reminder less than 7. So less than 7 reminders will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my hash table will be constructed. This means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the numbers when divided by 7, the remainder value will be these things only. After 7 means it will count into next value. So this is the values. Next step, what I am going to do is insert the values one by one. Insert the values one by one. Let us see, the first value is 50. The first The first value is 50. So what I'm going to do is I have the formula key mod 7. Okay. So first value is 50. So how I'm going to calculate is 50 mod 7. When I'm dividing 50, when I'm dividing 50 by 7. So mod means, you know, I will just 50. That is, it is going to generate the remainder. Okay. So 50, when 50 is divided by 7, we don't mind about quotient, we need only remainder. 7 into 7, 49. We have the remainder 1. So automatically 50 will be inserted in the lane of 1. It will be inserted in the lane of 1. See the next number 700. 700, next step 700 divided by 7. 700 divided by 7, remainder 0. So it will be inserted in 0 lane. Okay. So next, see the next number 76. Next number is 76. So 76 divided by 7, you have the remainder 6. So it will be inserted in the 6th lane. So next number 85. When you are dividing 85 divided by 7, the remainder is 1. So remainder 1. So remainder 1 means bucket 1. Bucket 1 is already occupied by a 50. When we divided 50 mod 7, we had the remainder 1. So we stored 50 in the bucket 1. Now we are having 85 mod 7. 85 mod 7. So automatically what we are going to do is 85 mod 7. So again, this state is called as the collision state. So now what we are going to do is very simple. From mode 1, we will create a linked list and we will link 85. We'll create a linked list and we will link 85. Next one, 92. So again, 92 mod 7 will have the remainder 1. Already bucket 1 is all occupied. So collision occurs. What we are going to do? We are going to create a linked list. So already 50 to 85 there is a link. Next 85 to 92. Next number is 73. 73 mod 7 is 3. So no issues. 3 is free. So we'll directly insert 73. Next one, 101. So 101 mod 7 equal to 3. This bucket is already occupied. So again collision occurs, we'll just form an linked list from 73 to 101. So this is all the numbers have been inserted. So this technique is called as separate chaining. Separate chaining is very simple. We'll just create a simple links from the buckets we want to create. For an example, we took this one. For an example, we took this one and we formed a linked list. So hash function, our hash function is key mod 7. That is the value divided by 7. It will return a remainder. Since 7, we are forming a buckets of 6 because all the things that are less than 7 will come under the remainder category, which is from 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So first we'll draw an empty hash table and we will insert one by one values. So first initially there is no issues. We are inserting the values. So when a collision occurs, we'll just form a linked list to the bucket like what we formed here. 85 mod 7 is equal to 1. We just formed a linked list. Next technique is open addressing. Okay, unlike separate chaining, what is going to do is it is going to store inside the hash table. No key is going to be stored outside the hash table. So there are 3 kinds of addressing in this open addressing. First one, linear probing. Second one, quadratic probing. Third one, double hashing. So we can perform 3 operations in this open addressing method: insert operation, search operation, delete operation. So insert operation, how we are going to perform is hash function is used to compute the hash value, the key to be inserted. Hash value is a key stored in the index and it will be inserted in the hash table. In case of collision, we will perform the probing and insert into a new space. Okay, very simple insertion techniques. Next, to search for any particular value, we'll just use the hash function. Based on the hash function, we can easily find the value. Based on the key, we can easily find the value and we can retrieve the value. Suppose if I want to perform the deletion operation, we'll choose the key first and then we'll perform the deletion. So all these 3 operations can be performed in open addressing method. In open addressing method, there are 3 techniques: linear probing, quadratic probing, double probing. First one, linear probing. Linear probing is we linearly probe to the next corresponding bucket. We will choose an empty bucket and we will perform the probing. It is very, very easy to compute because I have to say you the difference. Excuse me. So this was the result of our separate chaining. This was the result of our separate chaining. So in that we added many extra items linked list, but all these specific items were completely empty. To avoid this technique only, open addressing used this technique to adjust the values in the free spaces. Okay, so the advantage is it is very, very easy to compute. Second one is disadvantage means it forms in clustering. So when you are forming the clustering, when I'm retrieving data, it will be minutely complicated, and we can form groups and insert the values, and it takes only time to find the empty buckets. Next, quadratic probing. Quadratic probing is when we are using the process ith iteration, we will be using this quadratic probing, and the most important thing is we have to find the empty bucket. If you find the empty bucket, we can easily fill the values. Next one, double hashing. Double hashing is we'll be using, this is the higher kind of hashing techniques. This will be used in the case of ith iteration when I'm using higher values. Like as I said, if I want to store the PAN card details or if I want to store the other card details that I'm having very, very high amount of values, in those techniques I will be using this double hashing. So now we will use one same example. My key function is key mode 7. I'm going to insert these values. For this time, I'm going to use linear probing technique. I'm not going to use separate chaining. Here I'm going to use linear probing technique. So as usual, first step, I'll draw an empty table, empty hash table. So this empty hash table, again key mode 7. So my hash table consists of 6 values, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll draw an empty hash table consisting of 7 buckets, which will be like this one. Next one, step 2, I'm going to insert the values one by one from the first value to the last value. First I took 50. So 50 mod 7, it is going to return the remainder. 50 mod 7, the remainder is 1. So 50 will be inserted in bucket 1 like this. Step 2. Step 3. The next step is 700. Again 700 mod 7, 0. 700 will be inserted in bucket 0 like this. Okay. Next one, 76. 76 again, 76 mod 7, 6. So again it will be inserted in bucket 6. Next one, 85. Now 85 mod 7 is 1. Bucket 1 is already occupied. So collision occurs. To handle this collision, linear probing techniques keeps the linearing value. Empty bucket is found. The first ever empty bucket after 1. The first ever empty bucket after 1. 2 is available. So I'll place my 85 in the 2. Next one, 92. 92 mod 7 is 1. 1 is already occupied. Collision occurs. So the next empty bucket, the next ever empty bucket. So already the 2 already into 85 is stored. 85 is stored in 2. So the next empty bucket is 3. So it will store the value in 3. Next one, 73. 73 mod 3 is 3. So bucket 3 is already occupied. So now the empty bucket after 3 is 4. So it will occupy the bucket 4. Next one, 101. 101 mod 7 is 3. Already occupied. Now it search for the empty bucket. Fifth empty bucket is empty. So it will insert the value inside this one. Okay. So this is all what we saw in two kinds of hashing techniques. First one is separate chaining, second one is open addressing. In open addressing, we saw about linear probing. It will just fill the empty values. Whichever space is empty, it will fill the values in the empty spaces. Okay. So now we'll have one gate question discussion. This is my gate question. It was asked in 2016 gate CS paper. I'll just read a question for you. A hash table of length 10 uses open addressing with hash function h of k is equal to k mod 10. So automatically my bucket will be from 0 to 9. And linear probing. They have specifically said that linear probing. So we should not use separate chaining. We must not use separate chaining. After inserting 6 values into an empty hash table, the table is shown below. Which one of the following choices gives a possible order in which the key values could be inserted in the table? So this is the table they have given. This is the table they have given based on my question k mod 10. So automatically I will be having 10 values. I will be having 10 values. So this was the 10 values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have drawn the values. So they have said I have inserted 6 values into the hash table. So the table is shown below. Which one of the following choices gives you the possible order in which the key value should be inserted? So this was the inserted value will be 43, 42, 23, 34, 52, 46, 33. Okay, so they are asking the question that in which order if it was inserted, it was placed in this order. Okay, so first for this, what you have to make is you must just recall the concept of linear probing, which I'm going to show you now. So what linear probing is just to do, it is draw an empty hash table. It will insert the values based on the, so 7 means 6, here 10. So we'll have to insert 9 buckets. So first an empty table will be drawn in such manner, 0 to 6, there 0 to 9 we'll have to draw. So by one we will insert based on the free space, next value will be inserted. So this was the concept of linear probing. Now they have inserted all these elements. So when you see the first element 42, 42 divided by 10, reminder 2, 42 is correctly inserted. Next, if you see 23, 23 divided by 10, reminder 3, again 23 is correctly inserted. Next, if you see 34, 34 divided by 10, 4, reminder it is correctly inserted. See next one, 52. When 52 was divided by 10, the remainder was 2, but already 42 is filled, so automatically there is some deviation. So 52 will be inserted only later. Next you see 46, 46 divided by 10, it is correctly inserted. Next you see 33, already 23 was inserted, so 33 will also be coming last. We will see the answers. Yeah, 46, 34, 42, 23, as I said, 52 and 33 was last, because 52 has the remainder 2, but 42 already inserted, so 42 must be coming first, so only 42 has inserted first. Next, based on our linear probing table, the first ever empty table will be filled. So 23 was already filled, 34 was already filled, and 46 also already filled, because if this place is empty means 52 has been inserted here, but our 52 was inserted in the 5th position, so automatically all these positions were filled, so only our 52 came at this position. And similarly, if this position was free means 33 would be inserted here, but 46 as the correct probability, 46 was inserted in 6, so automatically 42, 23, 34, 46, everything was inserted. After that only we had 52 and 33. And some people will be having the doubt, why not 33 before and 52 after? Based on our linear probing technique, the first ever empty table will be filled. Here, the first ever empty table was filled by 52. So, 52 was inserted first, followed by 33. So, the order of insertion is 46, 34, 42, 23, 52, 33. Okay, clear? So, this was the order of insertion. This was the correct answer. I have made the answer bold for your reference. Next one, this is also a GATE question. It was asked around in 17, I think. So the question is, the keys 12, 18, 13, 2, 3, 23, 5 and 15 are inserted into a initially empty hash table of length 10 using open addressing. Open addressing means we will use only linear probing. So the hash function is h of k equal to k mod 10. Like the previous problem, h of 10 is equal to h of k is equal to k mod 10. So I'll be having the reminder from 0 to 9. What is the resultant of the hash table? So I'm having A, B, C, D. Now I'm going to calculate the value. So first one, first value have to be inserted 12. 12 mod 10, reminder 2. So 2 will be placed in the second position. Next 18. 18 mod 10 will be reminder 8. 8 will be positioned in 8th position. Next 13. 13 mod 10 will be 3. 13 will be placed in 3rd position. 2. So 2 will be, it does not have any reminder. So automatically what it will do is the first ever empty table. The first ever empty table after this one is 4. So it will be placed in the 4. Next one 3. Again 3 does not have any reminder. It will be placed in the next ever empty table. So this table was empty. We will be placing 3 here. Next one 23. So 23 was reminder 3, but already 3 is filled by 13. So this was filled, so automatically it will be placed in the 6th position. Next 5. So again, the empty value 7 will be here, will be placed. Next one is 15. So 15 will return the remainder 5, but already value is placed. So the next ever empty table is 9. So the answer will be, the resultant hash table will be C. Okay. So for each value, you will be computing the, I'll first draw the hash table with empty 0 to 9 columns. You will be inserting one by one value. First, I will insert 12 in the second position, 8 in the eighth position, 13 in the third position, followed by 2. So the next ever empty position after 2 and 3 is 4. Next 3. So 2, 3, 4 is filled. So I'll place in the fifth position. Next 23. Already third position is filled. So I'll insert in the sixth position. Next 5. Already 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is filled. So I'll insert in the seventh position. Again 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is filled. I will be inserted in 15th position. So the answer will be C. Yeah, the answer is C. So this all I discussed today about hashing techniques and what is meant by hash table, various kind of hashing techniques, and all these things are being discussed today. So next session we will be seeing about other concept of data structures like binary trees or binary search tree with hash gate question discussions.